Yo ho bro, and welcome to the show. Today we're going to be doing something different since there's large gaps in between the animations that I bring out on my channel. I thought I would attempt to do a tutorial on some of the things that I'm going to be creating inside of the next video. So, in this video we're going to be creating the new Minecraft mob, Mob B. And we're going to be using this Minecraft mob in our next video. So, if you want to join along with me, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to create this Terror of the Night, as Minecraft has labeled it, this Sky Manta Ray. And I'm going to provide you with also a couple of resources, as well as showing you how to create this mob within Blender. Now, I've been using Blender for a little bit under a year now. I think about 9 months, possibly 10 months. You can see the first video that I've ever made inside of Blender over on the channel. It's Basket MC's intro. I'll leave a link to it in the description, and there'll most likely be an iCard that will pop up on the screen as well. So, the Minecraft mob is not yet created, and the only thing that we have to go off of is a sketch that was provided by the Minecraft creators. So, we're going to take that sketch and we're going to create a skin. We're not going to go through that process, but I am going to show you up on screen here what I have made. So I just basically took the picture that they provided and I counted pixels, or presumed pixels, and I filled in the colors that were provided via the video, the winning video for the creature, and I came up with this. And this is the skin that I believe is the closest that I can get to what was sketched up. There are like 1 or 2 pixel mistakes, but I am going to just look over those. Now this is actually going to give me the dimensions that I need in order to create the manta ray. Now, flipping back between those 2 pictures, I'm going to actually keep the skin in my second monitor, or off to the side here, in order to count how big I want certain things to be. Thankfully, inside of Blender, there is some cool things that we can do in order to make sure that it's the exact size that we want it to be. Now, when you first load up Blender, you're going to have the main 3 objects. You're going to have your cube, you're going to have your camera, and you're going to have your light source. I'm not going to go through everything right now. If you do like this tutorial, I will create a tutorial for extreme beginners, like very, very beginners. But for right now, we're just going to focus on exactly what you need to do for creating this manta ray. What I'm doing right now is just basically moving around the camera, and that is the only button that I've changed apart from the default everything inside of Blender, and that is mouse button 3, because mouse button 4, and just by holding down that button it allows me to swing around the swivel point for my display camera. It used to be mouse button 3, which is also my mouse wheel, and it irritated me that every time I wanted to try to move around the camera using mouse button 3, I would scroll in and out at the same time to zoom in and out. So that's the only difference here. If you want another way of getting around, you can use Shift F, and this will actually bring you into like a game mode type of view, and most likely anybody that's watching this has played Minecraft. So think of this like as creative mode. Shift F will bring you into flight mode, and you can just use the WASDs in order to move around the display camera. And if you're in the regular camera, you can hit 0 to get in there and hit Shift F in order to move the camera around there too. So what we are going to do, also, I'm sorry, if I miss saying what I'm actually doing, you can look down here in the bottom left hand corner to see what buttons I'm pressing. So go ahead and use that as a reference to whatever I'm doing in case I forget to tell you what button I'm pressing. Just so that we can see things inside of the rendering, we're going to change the lamp over here. We're going to select the lamp, select this over here, the lamp features, and we're just going to click on sun. And this is going to allow us to have a bit more light when we want to look at things when we texture stuff. So alright, let's go ahead and select our cube by right-clicking it. And we're going to go into edit mode. There's two ways to get into edit mode. You can go down here to the bottom, just above the timeline, where it says object mode, and you can click on that and go into edit mode. Tab will also switch between, I believe, the two previous modes that you've had. Edit mode and whatever you were on before. So in this case, edit mode and object mode. If I were in sculpt mode, it would go between edit mode and sculpt mode, or texture paint and edit mode. So object mode and edit, which are the only two that we're going to be using right now. While in edit mode, we're going to come down to the bottom again here, and we're going to determine what we actually want to select of the cube. And we want to select the faces, or what's present there. So we don't want the vertices, which happen to be these little dots here. These are the vertice points. We don't want to select the sides, which happen to be the lines, or the sides edges of the cube. We want to select the faces of the cube. And this is going to be a lot easier in order to create our character. So alright. Right now, you can see these grids on the display screen right now. Those are to determine one Blender unit. That is just a measurement within Blender. I believe that it's supposed to also correlate to 1 meter, so I think that's a one good way to look at it, but we're going to call it 1 Blender unit because that's what it's called. We're going to call this cube 2x2x2 in Minecraft, and it's going to help us determine how big we want this manta ray to be. By holding down Control and then clicking on one of these arrows, we can move anything inside of Blender exactly 1 Blender unit. So, actually, going out of edit mode, you don't need to do this, but if I were to hold down Control and hold down this green arrow, I would move this cube 1 Blender unit to the right, to the right, to the right. So this allows me to move exactly the amount that I want it to, correlating to the size of the manta ray that we're using the pixels in order to count. And the manta ray, showing here up on screen, will be the main body is what we're going to first create. And that main body is 22 by 11 by 2 pixels. So, using the center as a guide, we're going to count over 11 points. So this is going to be 1. We have our standard cube that we started off with. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoop, I think I just messed up my counting. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that's a cool feature about Blender. If you're moving anything on screen, whether it's the size of something or the box of something, if your cursor goes off one side of the screen, it'll pop up on the other side and allow you to continue creating whatever you need to. Also, like Photoshop, anything that you do can be undone by Control-Z, and to redo it, Control-Shift-Z will allow you to bring it back. So alright, let us continue making this manta ray, and that's 11 on one side, and starting from the center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that's right. It's like 3 Blender units passed on each side. Just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So now we have the width of the manta ray. So it's going to be 11 pixels long, and the cube is already 2 pixels high, so we don't actually need to change that. And the body, the depth of it is not 11. So we already have this box as 2 pixels wide. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright. Now we have it in 11 pixels wide. Alrighty. So this will actually help us in the long run, counting like this and keeping it in Blender unit, so that when we have the display of everything, the skin displaying, that each pixel will be precisely square when it shows up on the skin, and it won't look a little oblong. So alright, now we have the body. But there is something wrong with this cube. You notice this little orange dot in the center. This little orange dot determines the origin point of this cube, or the center point of this cube. And we don't want it to be off center, so what we're going to do is come down here while we have the cube selected, hit Object, and transform origin to geometry. We're going to move that origin, or that orange spot origin, to the center point of the geometry, or the cube. And there we go. It's now in the center. Now we have the main body for the manta ray. In order to get all the other points, it's going to be a lot easier if we bring in a bunch of other cubes. Let me look back at this picture for reference, and I believe that the head is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's 8 by 5 by 2. Alright, the head, the upper portion of the head, not including the mouth, is going to be 8 by 4 by 2. So we're going to bring in another cube so that everything lines up perfectly in the beginning stages. We're going to move things around later, but we are going to bring in a cube, and anything we bring in is going to come into this 3D cursor here. Now, in case you accidentally left click on where something goes, what you can do is you can bring this cursor back to the center by hitting, I believe it's Shift S. Yes, there we go. Cursor to center. There we go. And that'll bring it back to the center. I wonder if select type, wondering grouped linked. I was wondering if there was a way that I could get to that cursor option without hitting Shift S, because I always like to know the second option of how to do something. It always helps me, but I guess not. Alright, So we're going to bring in another cube. We're going to hit Shift A in order to bring in a cube. We're going to bring in add. So Shift A is going to add, and we're going to add in a mesh. And the mesh is a type of object. You can bring in all sorts of things like a monkey head. It's a monkey head, or I think that's the Blender figure or something like that. Or we can bring in a donut, a cone, cylinder, icosphere. Ico, wasn't that a video game where you had to handhold somebody through the game? Anyways, we're going to just bring in a cube. So we have a cube inside of here, and we're just going to bring that forward 2 Blender units so that it is in front of everything. And we're going to edit this so that it is 8 by 5 by 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 forward, and then it is too high. Alright, good. And we're going to do again with that that box. We're going to make sure that that origin to geometry is in the center. Now you don't have to do this every time that you do a box, but what you can do is when you have all the boxes together is you can select them all, and then you can do object transform origin to geometry. It'll work perfectly fine. Let's see here. Oh, to select multiple items, it's Shift click and not Control click. Control click will do something different. Alright, so in this next box that we're going to be creating for the lower jaw, we're going to do this a different way. Now you can bring in another box and just create the shape that you want to. But I'm going to duplicate this box by hitting Shift D, and I will create a second box, as you can see here. And the moment that you create it, it's going to be going into grab mode, so it'll move around. Just hit right click to say that you don't want any of that movement to apply. So right now there's 2 boxes in the exact same spot. And while we have one of those boxes selected, we're going to hit Control, and we're going to go down 2 Blender units. So now we have 2 exact boxes at the bottom here. With this lower jaw, I had to take a little bit of artistic liberty. I'm not quite sure if the jaw is all the way the same size as the upper one, like in terms of depth, or if it starts halfway through. So what I've done is I've actually said that the lower jaw is the same depth as the upper jaw, and it's only clipping into the body, or part of the box is in the body. That's what clipping means. It means it's going into another object. So the size of this lower jaw is actually going to be I think it's 6 by 5 by 1. Oh, there's my pictures. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I have the same width as the head, 5 depth, sorry, and 1, 2, 3, 6 on the width of the jaw, and 1 high. So the width and the height is a very determined factor that we can rely on with the sketch. But as for the width and depth, I do not know. So going up 1 on the lower jaw in order to make sure that it's 1 pixel deep. And we are actually going to go from 4 to 3 and from 4 to 3. Alright. And there we go. We have the lower jaw already made. Now, as you can see in the picture, that there is, in the sketch that they've given, the head actually clips into the whole head, upper and lower jaw, goes into the jaw a bit. So it's not going to quite look like it right now. We're just look like the sketch right now. We're just getting the correct size of each of the limbs for the Terror of the Night. Alright, now we are going to go over to this box by selecting that in object mode, and I'm going to do the same thing with this guy by hitting Shift D, and I have another box. Right click to make sure it goes back to where I want it. We're going to move that by holding down Control and clicking on this guy. And we just want it butting right up against that. So, alright, now we have a wing, and we are going to make that. Let me count the pixels here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So that is going to be 11 by 9 by 1. So let us reduce the size. That is 1 pixel deep. And then right now we have a factor of, just going to move my camera over here so I can get the side of this guy. It is currently 22 long. And we are going to reduce that down to 11. And since 11 is halfway through 22, we're just going to take that straight to the orange circle. So now we have 11 there. And then we need it to be 9 on the depth. We are just going to reduce that 1 on this side and reduce it 1 on this side. Oop, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. Alright. Now, I'm going to duplicate that guy, and I am going to put that guy on the other side. And we are going to move the camera over and bring him back. Alright. As I said before, if this isn't exactly for super beginners, if you want a tutorial on how to use Blender for beginners, I am willing to do that. I haven't used Blender that much, but I am willing to do that. Just let me know in the comments if you want that to be created by me, and I will get working on that. Alright, so now we have 2 wings, a body, and head. Now we need to create the tail. The tail, I'm definitely going to start off with another box, just a plain cube. And we're going to bring that all the way to the back, and this guy is going to be a little bit offset from center because this tail is actually 3 by 3 by, what is it, 3 by 3 by, okay, so we're going to make this 3 by 3 by 6, so 1 this way and 1 this way, and I'm going to make a 3 by 3 by 6, and then, no, 5. Oh, I do think I made a mistake inside of the tail, but we are going to go with what I have drawn up for the skin right now. So I think the tail actually is a little bit longer than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually think that it's 6 long. It might be 6 long. Possibly. I'm not quite certain. Alrighty. We're going to go into object mode, and we are going to actually Shift D this guy, copy him out, bring him over, and we're going to make this guy 2 by 2 by, oh, where did my picture go? 2 by 2 by 4, and actually I'm going to adjust my skin for for this guy, so this is going to be 2 by 2 by 5. So 2 by 2 and by 5. Alright, we're going to 2 by 2 by 5. Okay, and we're going to duplicate this guy. Bring him over, butt him up against. And this guy is going to be 1 by 1 by 4. Alrighty. 1 by 1 by 4. Alright, so now we have the tail, the wings, the body, and head, and the lower jaw. So now we're going to have to apply the skin to everything that we need. What we should probably do first, so that we can see all sides of the box, is that we're going to take all of these cubes, and we are going to, ooh, that's not what I want. We're going to take all these cubes, and we are going to separate it by at least one Blender unit apart, so that way we can see all sides of the cube. Okay. And then I'm going to move this guy up, and this guy will stay right where he is. So, alright. Now we can see all sections of the cube so that we can skin each section. I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to adjust the skin for you guys. While creating on your project, don't forget to save often. Never know when something bad is going to happen, since I don't know your computer, and sometimes it does random problems. So we're going to do a quick save as, and we are going to call this tutorial mob v1. A cool thing about Blender is that see where you put in the title up here at the top? Over to the right there's a plus and minus that will allow you to change the number in the last position there, or right before it says .blend. It can change it to 1, 2, 3. So anytime that you do a save as, you can always change that number if you want to, just by clicking plus or minus. So save that, and now we have that saved. Now we need to skin everything that we have. So most of everything that we're going to do is going to be done over here on the right side, and of course we're clicking to select everything. So let us start with the main body. The main body, we're going to come over here to the materials tab. Ooh. I tend to work inside of cycles renders. I never remember what type of rendering program I am actually using until I go over to the skins, and it reminds me that I need to be in Cycles Render, which is the better one for shadows, I believe. I don't know the difference between Blender Render and Cycles Render. I know that people that use Blender quite often tend to use Cycles Render and say that it's the better render. So I'll believe them, and I haven't used Blender Render ever. So we're going to start with the head, actually. And we're going to come over to here on the Materials tab, right over here, and we are going to hit New Material. This will get us a default material with the diffuse and a color of mostly white, kind of a Blender gray. Alright, and so what we're going to do to give this guy its skin is we're going to go into Tab, and we're going to hit A in order to, oh, that's right. One A selects, deselects everything, another A will select everything, so hitting A, depending on what is selected and what isn't, will select everything or cause you to select nothing. So hit A until everything is selected. And we're going to go over here to the surface area, and right next to where it says color, we're going to click this little dot inside of this button here next to the colors, and it'll bring up a menu. And click that again, and we're going to use image texture. Oh, yes, that's right, image texture. We are going to get the skin that we need. Mob Skin 3 PNG. That's the one that I'm currently using. You, of course, might have it saved as something else. You can use Photoshop files if you want to, or you can just use PNGs. PNGs tend to, I think, are the lossless type of skin. So if you want a high quality skin, PNG is the way to go. But since this is a Minecraft skin, it doesn't matter either way. So alright, now we have the skin loaded in. As you can currently see, you do not see the skin right now. But if we go into this other viewport shading, we can change what it looks like. We can change it into a wireframe, we can change it in solid, which we were at, or we can go into material, which I tend to use the most. And currently, you still do not see anything. Why is that? Because the box is not unwrapped. Unwrapping allows the 3D object to use a 2D picture to put on top of it. So we need to unwrap this box. To do that, I am going to go into compositing, and we are going to see what is actually happening here. So, alright. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the window, of the left window, I'm going to click this little picture that looks like a sunset at a beach or something like that. Browse image to be linked. Alright, and I want that mob skin. So alright, scrolling in, we can get a good look at what we're doing, and we are going to most likely be looking at this head. Note that 2D moving the camera around is going to be different than moving the 3D port of the 3D port. So there's the 3D moving of the camera, and then there's the 2D moving of the camera. They may be different buttons. So alright, let us unwrap this box by making sure that the cursor is over this window with the 3D box. Hit U. Let me go back to it again. Make sure you're in edit mode, have all the faces selected, then hit U, and then you will have different unwrapping options. For this, we're going to be using Smart UV Project, and I believe this angle limit determines anything above 66-degree turns is going to separate certain areas of the mesh. 66 is fine because we have a bunch of 90 degrees on this box. Island margin just determines when it is unwrapped how far apart these faces will be. I'm going to put that at 1 just to help us out. And area weight, I actually do not know what that does. Correct aspect and stretch UV bounds. I'm not sure what that means. Stretch the final output of the texture bounds. Actually, don't know what that means, but anyways. Forgot. Let's Smart UV Project. Oh, it didn't save my stuff. Okay, 1. Alright, then hit OK. Alright, so now over here in the left area, you can see that we have these boxes now on top of the skin. This is going to determine where the skin shows up on what box. Make sure your 3D view is in materials. There we go. Alright, now we can see see that some of the texture is on the box and it's not in the right spots. To do that, we're going to have to adjust certain things over here. I like to take all of that we have unwrapped, and we're going to scale that all the way down quite a bit. We're going to move that. Oh, that's right. Hit S to scale things, bring it down, hit G to grab everything, bring it up towards the head, just close by, and then zoom on into the head. Alrighty. Now, since we're using pixels, in the viewport, things are going to show up quite blurry. But what we can do in order to make sure that things are correct, we can actually come over to the material tabs of the object where we put in the skin and everything, and we can come over here from linear to closest, and this will take the closest pixel and it will display that. And we can come over to settings, linear, cubic, multiple importance. I was hoping to do something other than this, but what we can do is come over to the display of the item, of the display window, and we can do a rendered view, and this will give us a quick render of what we're doing here. And this is a real-time render, so anything that everything that moves around will give us a quick render of only 32 samples. So nothing too super on the rendering, but this is why I wanted the sun, so that anytime that we come into this view, we can see everything that we're doing. So alright, we have the skin currently showing up. If we go over to the texture window again, hit G to grab at all the skin, you can see the skin moving around on the box. That's good. That's what we want it to look like. So alright, by selecting one of these boxes, make sure you select all the corners, and then the face will be selected, or what you can do is come down here at the bottom. You can just scroll left and right by using the wheels, and we can select by box or select by island. Island will allow us to select all multiple boxes that are connected to each other, or this will select one face. Since all of our faces are islands, it doesn't matter. Let us grab this one. I believe this one determines the top. Alright, good. As you can see that moving around there. And we are going to make sure that the front end looks the way that the sketch of the Minecraft people have it. And we're going to hit R, and we are going to rotate this 90 degrees exactly. To do that, we are going to, you hit R once, and then you hit 90. And that has rotated it 90 degrees. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the right direction that I want it to rotate. So I'm going to hit right click or backspace, doesn't matter which one you want, and I'm going to take out that 90. And actually what you can do is you can hit R and you can hit negative 90, and it'll rotate it in the other direction that we want it to. Alrighty, hit enter to apply it, and there we go. I think that's all correct. Double check with the picture again. There it is. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, that's top of the head doesn't matter. Oh, okay, the top of the head doesn't matter because it doesn't show it in the picture. So this is just my artistic representation of what the top of the head looks like. So alright, we're going to scale this to be proper by hitting S, and then we are going to scale it up a bit, and then so that the edges meet the edges of the pixels. So alright, I think that's right. got a little bit of purple on the edge here, so we're going to scale that back down. We're going to do it a little bit, so hold down, hit S, and then hold down Shift. And this will allow you to go a lot slower in the scaling process or any other process that you do with like moving or such forth. So, all right, perfect. So getting rid of that little strip of purple at the edge there. Okay, no edge there. Apparently did not scale correctly, so we're going to actually make it so that we select the edges. We're going to select this edge and we're going to drag it over to the other side of the pixel. So I'm going to hit grab G and then I'm going to hit X, and this allows me to move along the X axis with this item. It won't allow me to go up and down at all, just left and right. We're going to move this all the way over until we just lose the other pixels for this side of the head. Okay, there we go. Do the same thing with the other guy over here. Grab X. Okay, I think that's correct. Good. Now we have that exactly on the spots that we want to. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to have to do all of that with all of these guys. We're going to have to select the boxes that we want, get it into a position that we want. Ooh, this one's the bottom one here. Okay, grab. Yeah, it's the bottom one. So what we're going to want to do, rotate minus 90. Nope. Just regular 90. What? Minus 90? Oh, there we go. I must not hit the minus correctly. So, alright. Got that in position. So each one we're going to have to get it into the correct position. Scale it properly. Whoa. Right about there. Let's see here, grab. Make sure it's in the right position. And this one's scaled properly. I don't know why. Don't know why. But yeah, I think that's correct right there. Yep, that should be. And move all the other ones into the correct spot as well. This one is not... Oh yeah, that is the right side. Rotate 180. Okay. And we're actually going to do something different with this guy. We're going to put him here. We're going to scale him up just a little bit until he meets the edges. And we're going to actually do a scale Y. So now it's only scaling on the Y axis. And then we can just all the way up so both edges meet the edges. And there we go. Perfect. I think that's correct. And yeah. And these lines meet up with, well, not quite exact. As you can see, this white is meeting up with the purple when it's just supposed to meet up with the dark purple there. This one meets up just fine right here, but I'm not going to worry about it too much since this guy is actually going to be looking like about this far away on the screen. So, and you're not going to even notice that from that far away. So, alright, and each one of these boxes is what I'm going to have to do. So go ahead, take that time to do that, and we're going to jump ahead to show you the results of that. Alright everybody, so now we have our skinned product. All of it is looking the way we want it to. I've actually changed my skin over to a different type, which is the I just took the pixelated skin and I went into Photoshop and I blew it up about 10 times so that when we're looking at a material view, we can see a little bit more precisely where it is. It shouldn't change our rendering a bit. Ooh, I apparently changed the sun somehow. But yeah, it shouldn't change how the guy looks, but it will be a lot easier to look at in material mode. Let's go back to that sun, that lamp, change it back to sun, and we are going to use nodes. We're going to change it up to 3. Alright. So, alright, that will look a lot better rendered. Alrighty. Actually, to make things look a little bit better so that we can see it better, I'm going to go over to... Is this it? Denoising? I forget what it is. Ah, here we go. Going over to the world, where I'm going to click Ambient Occlusion. This will allow for some softer shadows and a lot more lighting around here. I'm going to bring it down just for my own view, and I'm going to bring that ambient occlusion down a little bit so that I can see those shadows just a little bit better. And going over to the lamp, I'm going to bring down the size all the way down to 0 so those shadows are nice and crisp. So, alright, there we go. Go back into material view, and I think everything is right. I need to select all of the cubes. I have the camera and lamp in there too, but it doesn't matter. Object, transform, origin to geometry, and that will shift all of the origin points for all of the items to their specific centers, which is exactly what I want. So alright, let's orientate these guys into the correct positions that we want. We can come down here at the bottom where it says global, and we can select a certain type of things. You can select the grab tool, which are these arrows which allow us to go up and down. We can select this curvy guy, which allows us to spin the item, or we can select this box guy that allows us to change the size on a certain axis. So what we are going to do is we're going to move it backwards a little bit into the body, and then we are going to spin the head forward a little bit. Alright, and we're just changing this on the global scale, meaning that if we were to go over to local, the axis for the axes for changing things will go to what the cube is facing. So it'll go kind of on a slant here since our cube is on a slant. That's what it means by going on local. If we go on global, it'll go on the y-axis no matter what is actually happening with the items that are selected. So alright, we're going to go in global, move it back a little bit, and alright, and I'm just wanting to select the lower jaw here, and we're going to rotate that down a little bit too. Alright, and that's looking the way I want it to. Good. We're only able to see the bottom jaw. Okay, good. And we're going to want to turn this tail downward a little bit. And we're going to want to bring that tail in quite a bit too. Bring it down a little bit. And back a little bit. Alright. Bring in the second portion of the tail. That one's slanted a little bit down, I think. And then the last portion of the tail. Plug that guy right in. Bring it down. Rotate. Up a little bit. Make sure that's actually in the tail. Okay. Take these wings. Rotate them down a bit. Actually, we're going to do an exact measurement. We are going to do rotate Y, and we're going to do 30 degrees? 40 degrees? Yeah, we'll do 40 degrees. So that way I can take this wing over here, rotate Y negative 40 degrees, and now I can move these guys together. Good. And then I'm actually going to move this one separately and then this one separately. Okay, I think that's looking like the picture. Yeah, good. That's exactly the way I want it. Alright, so the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make these eyes glow a bit. Now, from the picture, it does kind of look like they're glowing, but we're going to assume that they are. So in order to get them glowing, I just want those eyes to glow. Unfortunately, our mesh does not follow the pixels that we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a loop cut and slide over here, which is shortcut Control R. So while we have this entire thing selected, we're going to hit Control R, and a little pink thing shows up on this box. What we want is for that pink thing to cut straight around the face and across the nose. So that way, whoop. Let's redo all of that, shall we? Okay. Getting close to this box here. Alright. We're going to do another Control R. Okay. And we get the little pink thing. And this determines, what direction we actually want this cut to go so that we have some more faces on the object. I want a cut across the face and around the head. So just like this. I'm going to left click in order to get that, and without moving the mouse I'm going to left click again, and that'll give us a loop cut around the face. Now, in case you make a mistake, of course, hit Control Z. I'm going to do that again while making a mistake. Control R, loop cut, and we're going to cut with left click once, and you can actually drag it up and down during this phase. I'm going to right click to say no, I don't want to drag that around, and then left click again. No, wait, no, I don't need to do that second left click. Well, anyways, we have a loop cut around here. Now this loop cut goes between pixels here, so below the lower pixel and above the lower one. So now we have a 2 high block. But also I'm going to cut it in the other direction too. We're going to do another Control R, and we are going to do a loop cut around the top of the head and along the side of the face. So we're going to want this loop cut here. And we're going to, before you do your next, oh, I made a mistake. Okay, going back. Let's try that again. Control R. Alright. While it's in the pink mode and this is selected, we want to move the mouse wheel upward so that these pink things separate all the pixels. So it gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces on the one side there. So that way it separates the white eye correctly. Alright, there we go. So now we have the correct pixels that we need selected for this. And just because I'm OCD, I'm actually going to do all the rest of them. You don't need this, but this just helps me with other things. So I'm going to do another Control R, and I'm actually going to do loop cuts around the entire face so that it goes across the nose too. There we go. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 wide, 2 high, 5 deep head, precisely. Alright, now I want to select faces, and I want to select these two here that are the eyes. This helps if you have the skin unwrapped exactly the way that you want before you do this. But I'm not caring too much. So these two faces I'm actually going to have selected. And actually I'm going to select these two faces over here too, of the eyes. And we're going to change just the texture on these two eyes. So coming over here to the Materials tab for the object, we are going to change the color of this thing. We're going to just change that to an RGB. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to change it. Ooh, nope, that's not what we're going to do. Well, this is a good time to figure out what I just did and how to fix it. Let's go back to RGB, and because Control Z doesn't fix it. Okay, we're going to come back here to color. We're going to go to RGB. We're going to click on Image Texture. Alright, and I want to come to the sunset picture thing, and I want to click on Mob Skin 2. Okay, everything's back to normal. Woohoo! Oh, whew. Okay, what I actually want to do is I want to come up toward the top where it says Material here. I'm actually going to just double click that. I'm going to rename that as Mob B Skin. Alright, and then we are going to hit the plus sign over here, add new material slot. That's what we want. Then we're going to click Add New Material. Oh, okay. Down where it has color, you can click on the white here, and I'm just going to make that absolute white. Make sure that I could make it red if I wanted to, or something like that, but no. We're going to go absolute white. You can control the reds and the greens if you want to specifically. So, alright, absolute white. Right where it says diffuse, we're going to click on that, and we're going to go to emission. So now it is emitting light, and let's make the strength of that 3. Alright, now we have an emission strength of 3, so that is going to act like, actually, this material that we have not assigned yet, is going to emit light like a lamp, a localized lamp. In order to apply it to this, to those things specifically, we have those 4 sections selected. And all we have to do after that is hit Assign. And now those faces are now assigned to that specific material. And going into Rendered, we can now see that those are emitting a white. And if we cut down the lamp to, say, 1, cut down the lamp to 0. Just make the lamp a point. Oh my goodness. How do I make ambient occlusion off? Ah, here we go. Okay. Turning the ambient occlusion off. We can, let's see here. Ambient occlusion off. Turn off the lamp. Alright, there we go. Now you can see that these eyes are glowing nicely. And if I were to just do a quick render... Oh yeah, that's right, we haven't moved the camera yet. Haha, forget about that. But yeah, the eyes are now glowing on either side of the face, and they will show up during the dark. But of course, if we have on this as the sun, strength of 3, not 30, strength of 3, ambient occlusion on, you're not going to see it too much. I mean, if you have a bright field, it's not going to show up too much. But there we go, glowing eyes. Now you could stop right here, and you could do whatever you want with the objects, move it around the way you want to. Heck, you could do what I did, which is add in a star field, so that way when you do your rendering, rendered, it'll look like so, and you'll have the exact type of look that you want. But what I plan on doing is I'm going to be animating this, so I'm going to have to rig all of this stuff up. So let's go ahead and get ready to rig everything up. Getting out of this field into the materials, and let us start adding in stuff. Let's get rid of this star field because this is going to be disorienting. Where is it at? Sphere. There we go. Okay. And I want to get my cursor into the center position, Shift S, cursor to center, and I'm going to want to Shift add, I'm going to want to add a single armature bone. And that's all I want. Scale. There it is. Okay, good. Wanted to see where it was, and we are actually going to change that item, going over to the right here at the armature properties. We're going to put on X-ray so that we can see it through all of these blocks. Actually, just to get things a little bit more exact, we're going to go into orthographic view by hitting number pad 5, and this will flatten our view of everything. It'll look really strange. And I'm gonna hit, let's see here, is it number 3, number pad 3? Yes. Okay, gives us a side view of everything. Let's see here, I want to rotate this guy downwards, and we're going to control can actually do it at certain angles. You can tell this is at a 45-degree angle, and coming down, that's exactly at a 90-degree angle. Sweet. And we're going to want to increase that size again. Alright, and I think that's the length of the body. Alrighty, and while we have this bone selected, we're going to hit tab, and we're actually going to go into the edit mode of the armature. So what I want to do at this point is I'm going to select this back end here, and I'm going to hit E to extrude. So that way these two bones are connected, and this will be the back tail. I'm going to extrude again, and this will be the other portion of the tail, and extrude again, and this is going to be the back end of the tail. And I just noticed something. I'm going to get out of edit mode, and I'm going to take this guy and move it back just a little bit, so that at least it's in the tail just a little bit. Alright, going back to the bones, edit mode. I'm going to want a head, so I'm actually going to, while I'm in edit mode, I'm going to hit Shift A, and that will give me a single bone. Right there. Alright. And I want this bone. I don't want it connected to the body, because I want the head to pivot differently than where it's connected. So I'm going to put it there, rotate it. Ooh. Actually, let's just grab this end right here, and let us just move this tip instead, putting it right here. And I'm wondering, actually, let's do another Shift A. Undeterminate where I actually want the hinge for the mouth to be, because that is still contested territory as to how it actually works. Just from the sketch, I can't really tell too well. I'm just giving it a guess. We are going to put this in the right spot there. There we go. Sized correctly, positioned correctly. Okay, now I'm going to want to go to the front view, which I think is number pad 1. Yes, that's correct. And we're going to shift add. There's the bone. Okay. No, I want that bone. Oh, for goodness sakes. I want that bone. There we go. 1. And I'm going to want you to go over this direction. Up a bit. Over a bit. Okay. Let's rotate you. Okay. Down. Over. Down. In position. Well, it didn't help me exactly move exactly the way I wanted it to. Alright. And this... I could do some fancy controls, but I'm not going to, just because I'm not sure exactly how they work. Let's see here. We are, however, going to duplicate this bone, and we are going to move it right over here. If I rotate this, that does nothing. Okay. So rotating this might do something. Oh, perfect. Quite perfect. Let's fix that just a little bit. There we go. Awesome. Now we have this rig entirely... that's why orthographic is kind of weird. Let's try that again. Okay. Let us move these back. Hit 3, side view. Move them back into there. Alright. Now everything is properly boned. Alright, hit 5 to get out of orthographic. And now, go into object mode. Actually, let's do something else. Let us name everything. I'm going to start naming all of these bones. This is actually the Night Terror arm. Actually, armature. I'm horrible at spelling, but I know what it is. I'm gonna want to go over to this thing where it has a person here. That's the entire rig. Over here where it has a single bone, that's the one that we want. This one is called lower jaw. This upper one is called I want this bone. There we go. Head bone. Oh, I do need to do that. Okay. Head B, enter. Enter apparently applies it. You can't do anything else to apply it. Lower jaw. Actually, that one's just jaw bone because there is no upper jaw. Alright. This one is just going to be called body. This is going to be called tail base. Tail base. Okay, this one is going to be called tail mid. And this one is going to be called tail end. This one's going to be called wing L for left. And this one over here is going to be called wing R for right. Alright, and let's do the same thing for the cubes. Head, jaw, body, wing L, wing L. Oop, that's right. If you name something twice, it'll give this .001 so that things stay different names. We're going to do wing R. That's right. bar. I did name the thing right. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Body. Alright, tail. Tail. Base. Tail. Am I spelling that correctly? Tail. The hindmost part of an animal. Okay, yeah, good. Tail. Mid. And tail. End. Okay. Now all the cubes are correctly named. We are going to select all of the cubes. Just the cubes. And we can, if we want to, just select the names up here instead of using the 3D port. And that's why it's good to name everything. And so now we have all of that selected. We are actually going to come over here and on the Transformation Tools tab, Transformation area, we're going to hit Join. So all of these are now one single object. And the origin point was the one that I last selected, so we are going to go over to here to Object, Transform, Origin Geometry. Wow, those arrows are still not correctly aligned. Let's undo that join then, and let's make our body the main selection. There we go. Now join. Much better, thank you. Okay. Yeah, now all of these cubes are one object, but the bones have not applied to the rig yet. And we are going to do that. Save really quickly. First, I need to make sure that these bones control what I need them to. I need this guy and this guy, and actually no. Let us get the head bone, the wing bone, and the other wing bone selected, and then lastly select the main body. I want that cube unselected. Okay, cube is unselected. Go into edit mode. Okay, wing, head, wing, body. Nothing else is selected, just those things. Body is selected last, that's the active item, and I want to hit Control P. Yes, there we go. Make parent keep offset. Alright, now these bones will move with this guy, and I want this jawbone to move with the head. So I'm going to do that exact same thing with just the jawbone by selecting first the lower jaw, then the upper head, Control P, keep offset. Alright, now if we go into pose mode, let's see here, and we rotate the body upward, these wings come with it. There we go, and if I move the head, the jaw comes with it. So, undo, 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 there we go. Alright, object mode, no, pose mode, that's right. I want to select the cube, and then I want to select the armature, select everything in the armature. Alrighty. And then I want to Control P. I want to set parent to armature deform with automatic weights. Okay. That should do a somewhat of a good job of moving everything. Yes. I believe that is correct. Good. Most of this stuff isn't looking too fun right now, but we're going to fix that in the weighting, in the weights, what each bone controls. Are my eyes separate? Yes. I'm going to fix this really quickly. I did something different from you guys, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these things right here. Delete faces. And I'm just going to make these guys to how I had it in the tutorial, because I did something else with these. And I'm just going to set this to a material 1 assign. Mob B skin. This is labeled as I glow. Alright, there we go. This should... Okay, good. Everything works fine there. Now we're going to apply the proper weights to everything. Going into edit mode, in order to select certain weights for certain bones, after you've done the whole weight thing, it actually creates a bunch of vertice groups. Over here on the right hand side where it says data or type of active data display, in edit data tab, we are going to go into edit mode for the object. We're going to select one face and hit Control L to select all connected faces. What we want to do is come down here to vertice groups, and what we want to select is the body. This is the body bone, and if we want a weight of this, will determine this bar down here determines how much weight. We want 100% weight onto the body. So body selected, we have the body vertice group selected over here, hit assign, and now the body should, in theory, move with that. Alright, now it moves 100% with that. 1-to-1 ratio, that's how it turns. Okay, Control Z. Now we want this body bone to not control the tail, so select just one face of the tail, hit Control L, and that'll select that one cube. And we are going to come down to here, and we are actually going to select the body vertice group with the tail box being selected, and we are going to hit 100% remove. Now if we come over to the body bone and turn that, the tail will no longer move. Aha, good. Control Z, and through this, if you select the box, if you select the Night Terror object and come down here where it says object mode and go to weight paint, you can go through the different vertice groups in order to see what weight is applied where. So with our body, you can see that anything that is in red is 100% being controlled by that certain bone. So body bone, it's 100% only the body. So that's what we want it to only affect. Good. And then that body bone just controls those other two wings and the head. If we come down here to, say, wing L, that's set up properly. It doesn't affect anything else. It just affects... What is that? A little white speck there. I have no idea what that's from. What is that? Oh well, whatever. Wing L. That is only being controlled by that. Wing R. That is only being controlled by that. Tail base. Something's different. Alright, tail base. You can also right-click on the bone to see what's being done here. Tail base, however, is not correct. What we could come in here and we could, you know, paint in exactly the weighting that we want, from blue to red, and the colors in between, green being pretty low and then orange being pretty high. But we don't want that. We want exact control to exact bone. Since it's a Minecraft thing, we don't want any flubbing with their weight distribution. So let us go back to edit mode, and we are going to select only the tailbone, and we are actually going to go through, let's see here, body. We want no body, we want no head, we want no jaw, we want no wing, we want only the tail base, where we're going to come back to that one. We don't want any mid-tail control, we don't want tail end control, we just want tail base, assign there. Okay, and we're going to do this with that, and we are going to do no tail base, no tail end, and no body. Those are probably the only three that I actually need to do, and assign it to tail mid. Select that back end, and we don't want any tail mid, we don't want any tail base, and we want to assign it to the tail end. Alright, now the weight distribution should be proper. There, there, and there. Good. Yeah, by right-clicking I can see, just figure out which bone, because left-click affects the weight distribution. Alright, let us fix the head too. Alright. Alright, we just need to affect the jaw and head bones. So, alright, let's fix those. I'm going back into edit mode. L. Head bone. Actually, jaw. Remove. Head, assign. Okay. Turn off that thing. Okay, Control L. Have that whole thing done. Head bone, remove, jaw, assign. Sweet. Now, weight paint should be exactly correct. Alright. Perfect. Good, 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 good. That's exactly what I wanted. Now we can go into object mode. We can select this, and now everything should move properly. The jaw should move correctly. Okay. Actually, mouth moves kind of weird. He has an underbite. Let us undo everything here. If you want to, you can also select everything and say I mess everything up. Yeah, let's say I mess everything up. Like, what the heck is happening here? I have no idea. Just hit Alt R to reset the rotation, and Alt G to reset the grabbing. Alt S will reset the sizing. Alt S. So all of that can be redone by Alt S, R, and G. I'm just going to undo everything. Alright. Actually going to want to, in edit mode here, I'm going to want to bring this back a bit. There we go. And now let's take a look at his bite. Does he have an underbite? No. Good. That's what I wanted. Perfect. Good. Now, my rig is set up properly, and I can animate it how I want. Just to give it a couple more flare things, to control the tail easier, I'm actually going to select this mid bone, and I'm actually going to add a constraint to it. I'm actually going to add a copy rotation. I'm going to select this while in pose mode. I'm going to copy rotation of, I want the target to be tail base. Oh, no, target of Night Terror. Okay, target Night Terror, tail base. Alright, good. No. Local space, local space. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to copy rotation, Night Terror, target, bone, tail base, and just copying the X, Y, and Z, just local space to local space. And this is 100% influence. So whenever I rotate this guy upward, this guy rotates in as well, the same amount. So there we go. And then I want to do the same thing with this guy. Copy rotation, target, Night Terror, bone, tail, mid actually is what I want. And then local space, local space. There we go. And now that end of the tail will also... Oh. What is going on here? Why is it not doing that correctly? Invert? Invert Y. No. I want to invert Z-axis. No, not Z-axis. Maybe? Invert the Z-axis. No. Invert X-axis. Yeah, there we go. Huh. That was kind of weird. Don't know why I did that. Maybe the axis is different for some reason. Not sure. Oh well, that's one way of fixing it. Just invert the X-axis. So alright, now while he's flying, his tail kind of does a little bit more of a curl, and I don't have to animate each one of those bones. I just have to animate this one tail base. So, really quickly, before I go any too further into doing some things, I'm going to quickly fix something that I forgot to do. I need to make this tail be affected by this body right here. So what I need to do is make sure I click on this guy first, click on this guy first, shift click on that guy, and then hit Control P, keep offset. Completely forgot about that. Now everything should move together like that. And yes, good. It's alright. There we go. There's Mob B. Thank you everybody for watching. I will make sure that you have the resource for the texture in the description. I'll most likely just put it up in a tweet, and then you can just copy the image that way, copy the skin that way. You can also tell me if you want me to do any more tutorials on Blender, possibly start from the very beginning to talk a little bit more about each process inside of Blender, and we'll go from there. Thank you everybody for watching. This is the Puka signing out.